go. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy at A1SF_CEO back with another video. Today we're gonna be talking about when life happens. So just to get straight to it, when I say when life happens, I mean personal. When bullshit start happening, when things that's not making sense start happening, when good things start happening. When it's, a lot of blessings you start getting and you just really can't explain it. So that's the purpose of what I'm talking about today. I think before, in the previous video, I may have told you how I look at life as being seasonal. So I'll have different seasons where I flourish, and I have seasons where it's shadow work that I need to do. And usually, and the seasons of shadow work is when there's a lot of potential of bad things happening. And really, it's not bad things. It's just things that have to happen in life in order for me to learn certain lessons, to make, wise choices. Also, things don't seemingly go my way to how I want it to, right? So I can put goals down, I can have plans and have everything down to a T. And, a lot of times distractions will come up, or distractions will come into my life and kind of take me away from doing it exactly how I want it to go to plan. So just starting from there, when life happens in the negative for you, right? When, you're trying to go out there and look for jobs and it seems like nobody want to hire you, or either the jobs that you get and they're taking advantage of you. They're talking to you crazy, right? They just disrespect you financially, not paying you what you're worth or what you feel like you're worth. In those seasons when life happens, a lot of times we look at that as a losing season, right? Or I may look at that as a losing season. And from an outside perspective, on paper, schematically, yeah, it's a losing season, right? Financially, I may not have made the most money I wanted to make that year, or I wasn't able to save as much money as I wanted to save that year. Maybe I wasn't able to get that car or that house, or check off one of the boxes in my goals for that year. I didn't get a chance to knock it out. So from a schematic standpoint, yes, that's a losing season. But they happen, right? I'm a big Dolphins fan, an avid Dolphins fan, right? And the year we just had this prior, I think was actually a really amazing year, considering the fact our quarterback's coming from a concussion, right? We had a lot of injuries that we had been dealing with throughout the year. So I bring them up to say, look how they got to the point that they got to. That was our first time hitting the playoffs since I believe it was 2008. So that was almost 15 years of no playoffs, of straight losing seasons. And just the year prior, or the couple of years prior to that, we were in that losing bracket. But everybody know that the ulterior motive was for us to tank a few of those seasons prior, so that we could set ourselves up for a greater season moving forward, which like we had this past season here. So in your life, when you have losing seasons, remember, it's at those points where a lot of shadow work has to be done, right? It's not a point for you to give up on life, and it's not a point for you to give up on everything that's around you and say, man, this is it. I know during the losing season, it may feel like the world is coming to an end. Like, you can't really pinpoint it. You can't really say what's gonna happen, but you feel like you're living on borrowed time, and your next day, tomorrow, might be the end of the world. And a little bit, I think you kind of hope that it is, because that'll be an easy way out from the bullshit that you got going on, right? So it's like a coping mechanism. If I could tell myself that the world's coming to an end, well, then at that point, everything that I do doesn't necessarily matter anymore. And, I'm just able to let myself go to the point that it comes to an end. But the reality is, it's not coming to an end, right? You're still living, sparing, you're still gonna have a long life, ahead of you. So you can't adopt that mentality. That mentality is a distraction. That mentality is a demonic mentality that's meant to come into your brain and to stop you from reaching your greater purpose. It's at those moments where it's the toughest, where you're losing, where you're supposed to go 10 times harder, because that's where you build your armor. That's where you build your strength up. I'm a gym head. I'm a personal trainer myself. So, you know, if I had my clients come in here and they hit a personal best, they hit a personal record, and they stay there at that personal record, and they just live off of that personal record. Yeah, man, everything was good, man. I could go, but you'll never progress to reach another personal record because you got to put yourself through another stress to be able to get yourself to get stronger, because your muscles only rebuild off of you destroying them. Once you destroy them, you get the proper rest, they rebuild. So it's the same thing in life. You go through situations that are high stress, and you learn from them, you make wise decisions, right? So when I say make wise decisions, going back to the analogy of working out, if, let's say, you want to reach another personal best and you want to get stronger, well, you're not just going to hop right on the bench and start, you know, throwing up the heaviest weight up to what you think you can. That's the way that you get injured and you set yourself back. And it's the same thing in life, right? You don't want to go out if things are losing. Now, and this is what happens with a lot of people. Let's just going straight financially. You start, you know, losing financially. Your next ulterior motive is to go out and do something illegal to get it, right? And it's a risk to take. You might win that risk, but the reward will be you either gonna go to jail, you're gonna get caught, or you're gonna end up killed out here. And, you know, not a lot of people, that's how they ended up crashing out. They were in a season of loss. They didn't, you know, adhere to certain things for the shadow work that they needed to do, and in turn, they crashed out. Now, granted, certain situations happen that is completely out of your control, right? Like, let's say you got a kid, right, and your baby mom's put you on child support, and you just hit a financial hardship, and you cannot pay your financial burden when it comes to child support. Now they find you legally responsible, and you might go to jail. So those are one of those situations that, yeah, it's tough. But now hindsight be it 2020, the shadow work, right? The mistake that you made going into this position, whether it be, you know, let's say you cheated on your girl, or, you know, at the time, you know, the situation was bad. Well, then maybe you can see, you know, for how that relationship turned out for you, the next time moving forward, you can make wiser decisions that it doesn't end up in the same situation of having child support, having a baby mama, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe you chose the wrong partner, and that person, they didn't want to be with you, and now their ulterior motive was just to extract funds from you. Well, now you see you got to do your due diligence when it comes to picking a wiser mate. Maybe, you know, if you like fucking a lot, strap up, and you know, you might not have a kid, or even more so, abstain from it. You know, take a season of just abstaining from it and building yourself up personally to where, you know, situations like this can be averted. But it's gonna happen. Situations gonna happen, and life's gonna happen. So, you know, it can't always be perfect. If you have a life that's always good, you wouldn't know what good is, because you wouldn't have nothing to compare it to. And the only way you can compare the good is to the bad that you have in your life. So you gotta take the good with the bad, man, and take it in stride when life happens like that. Also, let's go straight into when the life is good. Hold on. So when life is going good, right? That's another season, right? You're fruitful, you're multiplying, and at that time, that's the most trickiest one, right? Because it's hard to navigate when everything is just hitting on all cylinders for your life. It sounds like it's easy, but it's really not, because the reality is this: when everything is hitting, you are living in fantasy land, and that's all right. Like, you know, it's good to be in fantasy land. Who don't want to be in fantasy land? Like, my fantasy land is just inside a weight room, you know, with a whole bunch of money around me and naked, slim, thick, light-skinned bitches walking around. That would be my fantasy, and if I can have that, I'll have that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to end it, but the reality is, maybe those bitches that's in that room don't care about me, and they just care about the money that I have in the weight room. So they'll continue to extract what they can and come into my life, and then they'll just gradually walk in, walk out. But as they're walking in, walking out, they're taking pieces of money, they're taking pieces of me, right? To where I can lose myself, and then it doesn't last forever. And now I find myself put in a bad situation because I wasn't consciously aware, because everything was just fantasy for me, right? So that's the tricky part about when things are going good. When things are going good, it's great to be stoic, right? Now, of course, you want to take in all the blessings and thank the man upstairs, that everything is good happening in your life, and enjoy it. Like, don't sit back and say, don't try to act like, it can't be you, like being too humble. Like, nah, go ahead and enjoy yourself. But at the same time, understand that life can happen and life does happen. So in that case, you should still go hard. You should go as hard as you ever went. Just like I say, when things go bad, when things go good, you want to go as hard as you ever can. So you're picking up the trend, you always go hard as you fucking can. That's it. That's the name of this game. That's the only way that you can take it through from a bad period to a good period, and then from a good period to a bad period, is you always go hard on whatever it is that you do. So financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, you go hard with it, because you putting out all that you can, and it's only in due season things will happen accordingly to how it's supposed to, right? So, and then also, man, listen, there's times where things are going good, like you maximize it, you 10x, right? If you notice, like, every job you go into, these people are giving you raises, man. They putting you in better positions, and they, are trusting you with different things with the company. Well, then notice that out in the real world, maybe with that, now, fellas, you got girls that's just coming at you left and right. They throwing themselves at you like, you can't explain why it's happening the way it's happening. You able to hit the gym effectively. You got straight peace. You can do whatever you need to do. Well, at that point, 10x it, right? 10x that shit to the fullest. So that time, go ahead and take a risk on maybe something financially where it goes to, getting into the stock market. You might have a little cushion now to where you can play with a little bit of things to, go ahead and put yourself into new territories. But be wise about it, because listen, don't over leverage yourself, because that's the quickest way to put yourself right back into a bad position. Just know where you at, know how things are going. Don't bet the whole house, but go ahead and take a little bit more risk, because you own one at that point. You in your prime at that point. So go ahead and sow your oats and live your life. That's what this shit is all about. Now, going from broke to having money is an amazing feeling. I went from having absolutely nothing to making a nice little chunk of change at one point in time, and it's an amazing feeling. Can't nobody tell you nothing, because who are you? You ain't touched the money I've touched. Unless you touch the money I touch or greater, I'm not really listening to what you got to say. And that's the tricky part about it, because like I said before, you can learn from anybody, and don't ever put yourself too high on the pedestal to where you can't take heed to any message that might be coming for you. So the main thing about going from broke to having money is remembering the ideals when you were broke, remembering the feelings that you had when you were broke, man, and bring that up to you when you start to get money, so that can keep you motivated, that can keep you inspired to want to make more money, set your future generations up, and then that can also keep you from making poor decisions that might lead you back into a situation where you go from having money to being broke. And now, going from having money to being broke, another situation that I've been from having a nice little chunk of change to going flat broke, having completely nothing. I've been there as well. And just keep your head up. Know that at least, that you had a chance to where you had a lot of money. So that means the same ideals that got you to that point usually are going to be the same ideals that keep getting you to that point, with little tweaks and variations here and there. Maybe you did something that when you got the money, you lost sight of, and that led you back to being broke. Or maybe just life happened, right? Maybe you get into a car accident, or you hurt yourself, and the bills just start hitting left and right, and now they want them right now, and it's just, you lose your job. Like, those are things that's out of your control. But understand that those out of your control intangibles were the reason why you went down and went broke, which means you can get right back up, right? Because it's not like you didn't make the money before and don't know exactly how to make the money. You made it. It's just once you made it, things started happening in your life that in turn took it away from you. So you just gotta grind yourself back. And it might be a tougher hole, it might be a deeper hole, but remember that same discipline and motivation that you had back then is what got you to where you were when you had the money. So just, put that key back into your mindset and get back right. You're not crazy. You're not losing your mind. Forget the perception of what anybody may think about you when they see you. Like, oh, this man used to be this and now he back to that. Forget all of that. You still the same person you was. You ain't changed. Only thing that changed was the money. And everybody gonna have something to say when it comes to a person having money and going to broke. That you're gonna see everybody say, well, if I did this or if I had that, I would have invested. You don't know. So for the people that sitting there saying they would have did this or they would have did that, that's cool. You can have your opinion on what you would have did, but the only rebuttal you can have for that would be, man, you go ahead and you get you some money and then you tell me how, you set yourself up. Then you show me at that point. Because a person that never had the level of money that you had, that's speaking on your situation, they have absolutely no idea what it took for you to get there and what it meant to keep it and what it means to continuously get that, right? So take that shit with a grain of salt. They just talking, and truth be told, they actually happy that you back at their level because they want you there. They don't want you above them because they think they better than you. But the reality is this: ain't nobody better than nobody. We all the same on here. We just got people that's willing to put in more work than others. Some people that know more than others, and that's just how it happens, right? So, again, life's gonna happen to you, whether it be good or bad, but you gotta take the good with the bad. Recognize what season you in at that moment and do the shadow work that's necessary to get you to that next level, because ultimately that's what this is all about. Remember, life is about relationships. So if you're in a bad season, hang on to those relationships that you have with people that you know care about you, right? Don't take it for granted. The people that's helping you, that you might feel bad because they looking down at you, but they actually really helping you, like, just acknowledge that. Yeah, they're gonna look down at you. You ain't shit. You might not be shit at the moment, but it's okay. You'll get back to what you need to, and you'll repay it back even then. So, and for the people that when you're doing good and they hate you because you're doing good, well, just understand that's their role. Their role is to hate you because you're good. Hey, don't give them no never mind. Don't change who you are because they hate you because you're good. You keep operating on a higher level, and everything will work out for your life. And like I always say, let's get this work. Peace out.